It's 19th of August today. Three news stories. United Arab Emirates, the UAE, has sent humanitarian aid to Tigray. At least one humanitarian flight has landed at Mekelle airport. Secondly, artillery strikes have been carried out on Debre Tabor city. At least 5 casualties are being reported. Amhara news media and other news sources are saying that Tigray Defense Force carried out artillery strikes on Debre Tabor city. Thirdly, once again, Eritrea has come to the rescue of Ethiopian PM Abiy Ahmed. Eritrea has made large-scale deployments to western Tigray, from where Ethiopian National Defense Forces and Amhara forces are being relocated to Amhara region, where TDF is trying to advance towards Debre Tabor. Let's have a look at the first news story. United Arab Emirates, the UAE, has sent humanitarian aid to Tigray. At least one humanitarian flight from the UAE to Mekelle has been confirmed. The flight first arrived in Addis Ababa. There it was thoroughly checked. After that, reportedly, the flight landed at Mekelle airport. In November, when Tigray was attacked by Ethiopian National Defense Forces, supported by regional forces, back then TPLF leaders had accused the UAE of providing drone support to Ethiopian National Defense Forces. Debretsion Gebremichael, Gata Choreda, and other TPLF leaders are on record that the UAE provided drone support to Ethiopian National Defense Forces. Now UAE seems to be helping Tigray's government. In another news about humanitarian situation in Tigray, UN says that humanitarian access to Tigray is still very limited. 100 trucks must arrive in Tigray daily, but Ethiopian forces are carrying out intensive checkings of the 8 convoys. That is why only 30 trucks can arrive in Tigray. So UN and other bodies are calling for speedy delivery of humanitarian aid to Tigray. They are calling for delivery of aid to displaced persons in Amhara and Afar regions. Tens of thousands have been displaced in Amhara and Afar regions after Tigray Defense Force launched an offensive into Afar and Amhara region. Today, UN spokesperson issued a statement about humanitarian access to Tigray. Watch the statement given by UN spokesperson.
Humanitarian access into the region remains restricted via the only road through Afar region where there is insecurity, with extended delays for clearance of humanitarian supplies and intense searches of trucks at these checkpoints. Only 30 trucks with humanitarian supplies can be scanned each day under the current procedures. But as we've been telling you, we need 100 trucks of food, non-food items, and fuel needed every day to go into Tigray.
Second news story is about rocket attacks at Debre Tabor. Civilians have been killed in this attack. Amhara news sources and some independent news sources are confirming that Tigray Defense Force has launched artillery strikes or rocket attacks at Debre Tabor city. At least 5 casualties are being confirmed. Earlier, I think that 3 days ago, we saw an article published in the Telegraph newspaper. In the article, it was said that TDF fighters were involved in civilian killings, in house-to-house searches and killing of civilians in Kobo. and some houses were also burnt in Kobo. This is second allegation against Tigray Defense Force that it is involved in war crimes against civilians. The 5 persons killed in Debre Tabor were from one family. Some houses have also been destroyed. Some TPLF supporters are claiming that the pictures which are being shared as an evidence that TDF carried out artillery strikes at Debre Tabor actually show the houses of Kimant people which have been destroyed by Amharas. But this claim is unverified. We could not verify this claim. In fact, most news sources are reporting that artillery strikes or rocket attacks have been carried out at Debre Tabor city, and some civilians have been killed as well. Civilian killings must be condemned, whether the civilian killings happen in Tigray, Amhara, or Afar areas. Civilians must be protected. Lastly, we have an important update about Eritrean forces in western Tigray. Eritrean forces have literally taken over western Tigray. Western Tigray is now being controlled by Eritrean forces. Why did that happen? Reportedly, Amhara regional forces, Ethiopian National Defense Forces, they have largely withdrawn from western Tigray. Firstly, 2 days ago, Prime Minister of Ethiopia visited Eritrea. Abiy Ahmed met with Isaias Afwerki. It was a very significant visit. The two leaders discussed the advance of Tigray Defense Force into Afar and Amhara regions. Amhara forces were under pressure in Amhara region because TDF was advancing. We saw TDF took control of entire Raya. It advanced into North Wollo and it started moving towards South Gondar and South Wollo. So it was decided that Eritrean forces should remain in western Tigray, and Amhara forces and ENDF deployed in western Tigray must be relocated to Amhara region to stop the advance of Tigray Defense Force towards Gondar, towards Bahirtar. After that, reportedly, more Eritrean forces entered western Tigray, and western Tigray is now being controlled by Eritrean forces. 3 days ago, I did a video, if you remember, I informed you about a new offensive launched by Tigray Defense Force on western Tigray. This offensive was launched after Ethiopian National Defense Forces, Amhara forces, started withdrawing from western Tigray towards Amhara region. So TDF tried to start a new offensive to take control of western Tigray, but there is very heavy deployment of Eritrean forces in western Tigray. And Amhara regional forces and Ethiopian National Defense Forces, which have been relocated from western Tigray, they have been deployed to several fronts in Amhara region. They have been deployed to Debre Tabor front because TDF was advancing towards Debre Tabor city. That is why once again Eritreans have come to the rescue of Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed. People have been asking questions about Eritrea, that Eritrea is finished. I mean, its military capabilities are finished, and it won't be part of another phase of this war. But you see, viewers, I have been saying that for several weeks that the survival of Abiy Ahmed and Isaias is linked. They are on the same page. Eritreans have not withdrawn. They will come to the rescue of Ethiopian National Defense Forces. Now we are seeing that there is very massive deployment of Eritrean forces in western Tigray. So Western Tigray is now under Eritrean control, and ENDF and Amhara forces relocated to Amhara region, where Tigray Defense Force is faced with very stiff resistance on Debre Tabor front. Reportedly, TDF has suffered some losses as well on this front. In the next video, after 2 hours, I'll update you in detail about what happened on Debre Tabor front. Thank you for watching.